So there's this piece that came out recently in regards to Joe Biden titled, "An Awkward Kiss Changed How I Saw Joe Biden." And this is a piece written by Lucy Flores, who in 2014 was the Democratic nominee for lieutenant governor in Nevada. And in the piece, she explains how Joe Biden, who was still vice president at the time, offered to come down to Nevada to her rally to help her and other Democrats in the state out. And so they set up an event that Joe Biden did in fact end up attending. But according to Lucy, Joe Biden's attendance ended up turning out far different than she had intended. As Lucy explained, the event proceeded as most political events do: coordinated chaos with random problems that no one can predict. I found Eva Longoria, co-founder of the Latino Victory Project, roaming the parking lot trying to figure out how to get inside the Union Hall. My staff was running around town trying to purchase ferns because, according to Biden's team, no other vegetation was acceptable for the stage. I found my way to the holding room for the speakers, where everyone was chatting, taking photos, and getting ready to speak to the hundreds of voters in the audience. Just before the speeches, we were ushered to the side of the stage where we were lined up by order of introduction. As I was taking deep breaths and preparing myself to make my case to the crowd, I felt two hands on my shoulders. I froze. Why is the Vice President of the United States touching me? I felt him get closer to me from behind. He leaned further in and inhaled my hair. I was mortified. Why is the Vice President of the United States smelling my hair? He proceeded to plant a big, slow kiss on the back of my head. My brain couldn't process what was happening. I was embarrassed. I was shocked. I was confused. I couldn't move and I couldn't say anything. I wanted nothing more than to get Biden away from me. By then, as a young Latina in politics, I had gotten used to feeling like an outsider. But I had never experienced anything so blatantly inappropriate and unnerving before. Biden was the second most powerful man in the country, and arguably one of the most powerful men in the world. He was there to promote me as the right person for the lieutenant governor job. Instead, he made me feel uneasy, gross, and confused. The Vice President of the United States of America had just touched me in an intimate way reserved for close friends, family, or romantic partners, and I felt powerless to do anything about it. Imagine you're at work, and a male colleague who you have no personal relationship with approaches you from behind, smells your hair, and kisses you on the head. Now imagine it's the CEO of the company. If Biden and I worked together in a traditional office, I would have complained to the HR department. But on the campaign trail, there's no clear path for what to do when a powerful man crosses the line. After the event, I told a few of my staff what happened. We all talked about the inexplicable weirdness of what he did. But I didn't plan on telling anyone else. I didn't have the language or the outlet to talk about what happened. Who do you tell? What do you say? Time passed and pictures started to surface of Vice President Biden getting uncomfortably close with women and young girls. Biden nuzzling the neck of the defense secretary's wife. Biden kissing a senator's wife on the lips. Biden whispering in women's ears. Biden snuggling female constituents. I saw obvious discomfort in the women's faces, and Biden, I'm sure, never thought twice about how it made them feel. I knew I couldn't say anything publicly about what those pictures surfaced for me. My anger and my resentment grew. Had I never seen those pictures, I may have been able to give Biden the benefit of the doubt. Had there not been multiple articles written over the years about the exact same thing, calling his creepy behavior an open secret, perhaps it would feel less offensive. And yet, despite the steady stream of pictures and the occasional article, Biden retained his title of America's favorite uncle. On occasion, that title was downgraded to America's creepy uncle, but that in and of itself implied a certain level of acceptance. After all, how many families just tolerate or keep their young children away from the creepy uncle without ever acknowledging that there should be zero tolerance for a man who persistently invades others' personal space and makes people feel uneasy and gross? In this case, it shows a lack of empathy for the women and young girls whose space he is invading, and ignores the power imbalance that exists between Biden and the women he chooses to get cozy with. For years, I feared my experience would be dismissed. Biden will be Biden. Boys will be boys. I worried about the doubts, the threats, the insults, and the minimization. It's not that big of a deal. He touched her, so what? The immediate passing of judgment and the questioning of motives. Why now? Why so long after? She just wants attention. Or, it's politically motivated. I would be lying if I said I didn't carefully consider all of this before deciding to speak. But hearing Biden's potential candidacy for president discussed without much talk about his troubling past as it relates to women became too much to keep bottled up any longer. So, this is a very powerful story, and yet, at the same time, this is a very difficult issue. If Lucy is telling the truth, I am very glad that she came forward with this story. I am someone who considers himself to be a feminist, and proudly so. And I am someone who is very tired of the harassment and mistreatment of women. And I am a big supporter of the Me Too movement. I want women to be treated with dignity and respect. So I do want them to speak out when they are harassed. But at the same time, the reason I struggle so much with this issue is that while I want to be one of those who unequivocally say that I believe the women whenever they come out with revelations such as these, I know that it isn't the right thing to do because there isn't any proof here. And there are almost certainly people out there willing to lie in order to ruin people's lives and or careers. And I don't know Lucy. If I did, then things would be different. If I knew Lucy well, I could believe her without any proof, if she was someone I found to be honest and trustworthy. But I don't know Lucy, so I can't just take her word for it, which, if Lucy is telling the truth, is really unfortunate because if Lucy is telling the truth, not only did what she did take a lot of courage, but also, if true, Biden should face some sort of consequence for his behavior. Because women should never be treated the way Lucy described Biden treated her here. Men should not touch or kiss women without permission. It's just wrong. Women deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and it's beyond time that we as a people finally understand this. As for Biden, now look, while I do not think we can just take Lucy for her word here, when it comes to Joe Biden and the mistreatment of women, there does seem to be quite a bit of smoke here. As Lucy aforementioned, this is not the first time Joe's treatment of women has been called into question. And a lot of times when there is a lot of smoke, underneath you will find fire. So this issue, the issue of how Biden treats women, could really be an issue that Biden might have to address if he does indeed plan to become president in 2020.